So, just before we talk about the crucial final set, just tee up for us, Keith, what was happening, the opening set and how it moved towards that final set and the final leg.
I think to go 2 sets to 1 up, I took a 12 dart leg out, and that was to go 2-1 up, and then I just practiced and I thought, if I can just get that next set, I've got to try and keep ahead of Eric. I just felt if I went behind, because he's the greatest player at the time, it's going to be tough. And I just kept ahead all the time. I just kept pulling out a good set, and I think when it was 3-1, then Eric came back to 3-all, and then the next 2 sets I did play really well, and I knew then Eric was in trouble. And like Eric said about nervous, the only time I got nervous was I had a chance to win 6-3, funny enough, and I had a good leg. And Eric was maybe 150, 200 points behind, and I went like 100, 137. I think 64 after 12, and I'm thinking I got 6 darts here, and I went treble. I went for 16. 16, I went for double 16, and I could see my hand going like that. My lip was like that. I could just feel myself, and I went in double 7, and I thought, oh. And then Eric came back. Then I had another chance, and I left double 2, and then Eric missed double 12. And when I went for that double 2, the 3 darts, 2 were on the wire this side, and 1 went the other side. And I couldn't have thrown them any better. That was just unlucky. And then Eric obviously took the dart, and he went like that. And then the next set, I never saw it because I was still shaking my head. I should be world champion now. But when it went to 5 sets all, I thought, right, I've had my chance. It's still 5 sets all. Let's try and do something. And I lost the first leg against the throw, and then I went 12, 15, 12, which was fantastic darts.
Eric, you're confident you're going to win this playing the rookie. What emotions are you going through as you're suddenly under real pressure in this final?
Well, I wasn't bothered when I was 2-1 down. As you say, I come back to 3-all. Then I went 5-3 down, and I was in trouble. That was it. It was do or die now. I can't afford to lose another set. As he said, he had about 5 darts at a double to win that set 6-3. And as he's thrown, I've wrote the game off, and that's it. And then you get another shot, and I won that. And I thought, well, he's bottling it now. He's choking. You know what I mean? Won the next set quite easily, 5-all. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm favourite. As I went 1-0 up in the last set, and I'm cruising. I'm exactly where I want to be. First time in the match I've been in front, and then he showed a lot of character. I mean, as you say, he went 12, 15, 12. I could have went for the bullseye. I want 50 with me last start. He wants 138, and I'm thinking if he wants 136, it's bang, bang, bang. It's 2 in the same place, double 8. It's a nice shot. But I 138, and he could have beat me earlier on. So I think, well, he's had his chance anyway. 138, you got to go bob, bomb, bomb. You're all over the place. And I'm thinking, he won't get that. So I went, big 18, leave me favourite 32, waiting for my next shot, and then thought the rest is history. Then the rest, he went a lovely shot out, 60, 54, double 12. And about 3 or 4 months later, we played an exhibition up in Norwich, didn't we?
In Ipswich?
Ipswich.
In our hometown.
1,000 people there watching. We played the same format. And he wants 138 again against me. He goes 60, 54, double 12. And I won't tell you what I called him on stage.
Exactly.
But it wasn't as important as the first one.
I mean, that winning checkout, fantastic, known as the Della checkout now in the game of darts.
Not when he's involved.
No, not when he's involved. Sid. But when you were in that situation, now you've had your wobble, your lips trembled previously, you're now faced with what is now the Della checkout. Did you know you were going to get that?
No. No, I'll be honest with you. I thought if I leave tops, I know Eric was his favourite. I mean, he put his else on it. He'd never miss 32. But if I leave double 20, you don't know. He might miss. You don't know. And first one was a lovely treble 20, treble 18, and I didn't stop. There was no way was I going to think about it. And I just went and didn't pull the dart. And when I went in, it's an unbelievable feeling to know that you're world champion. And
well, tell us what it was.
Well, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it was as soon as that went in, I was like that, and I thought, God, I'm world champion. It's like, and really for your family more than anything. I know my mum and dad, my brother, they're all watching, and I couldn't wait to get on the phone and speak to them. And got in the studio with Peter Purvis, and he was hurrying up to get his money because it was closing the bookies on the venue. He gave me a magnum of champagne. Actually, it was the 10th year of the BDO anniversary, and that was brilliant. And then all of a sudden, you know, it just sunk home really. The next day I was having a reception back at the house. The street had all been done up, And the next minute I'm on all the TV stations, the main ones, TV shows. And to be honest with you, I didn't really have a chance to know where I was because, my management company wasn't the best, really, to be honest. And they just had me working every day. Everywhere I went, it was a TV interview. If I went to a certain town, meet the mayor. I went over to Ireland, and then I was doing a tour of Scotland. And I mean, I won the next tournament, which was the finals on World of Sport, and I won that. So I was still full of confidence. But Eric saw me at September for the British Professional, which was the second biggest tournament, and I was just absolutely shattered. My eyes were all dark. He went, "You got no chance," and it caught up with me. But that was the reality. Then I had to learn to be a world champion, and it was it was fantastic. Every time when you go to places, 1,000 people, be please welcome the world champion. It's fantastic.
How are you taking it?
It just hurt. I mean, that was it. I mean, it's just hurt. And then I've been beat before, a couple of times before in the World Championship, so it doesn't get any better.
Did it go over in your mind about the way that he'd got that check out and that you were so close there?
I start thinking about whether you should have went for the bullseye or not. That's all. But then I'm thinking, well, he had 5 darts to beat me 6 sets to 3, and he had a big shot left. He had no time to think about it, which is sometimes that's better. That's in your favour. If he'd have wanted like 58, he'd have been standing behind me thinking, I should have 2 darts at a double here, and then you start thinking of winning.
Yeah.
Where they won 3-8, he's gone bang. Is it the first one? I bet he thought, that's handy. Is it the second one? He thought, solid, go in, and it went in. It's just, he's hit double 12 a million times before, but that's the best one he's ever hit.
Sid, how were you commentating on that fantastic finish, and what was the significance for the sport?
I suppose one thing that did cross my mind that Bristow's here, there's always tension, or something goes different, or something goes wrong. As a journalist, you always say, oh, well, usually Bristow's playing. It's never easy. Because Dave Lanning once said that, in retrospect, Taylor is a mugger. Eric was a burglar. He tended to step in and take it. Sometimes didn't outscore the other guy, but was always, see what he's been talking about in this discussion, about what's going through the other player's head. Most players, if they did that, wouldn't throw the dart quite so well. So once it went in, once Eric didn't go for the bull, I played it like that. I shouted, Bristow is banking on Della missing. And I did notice how fast he threw the third one.
Mm. And the significance for what happened that day?
I think the fact that the Bristow legend had been stopped for a bit, and then what did he? He ran off 3 on the trot. Was it to get 5?
Next 3, yeah.
Then the what's it called? The dartitis hit him. Eric always made the story, but I think he's the dart player's dart player because you talk darts with him and he remembers it's like a bloke playing 5 World Cup finals and remember every blade of grass and every throw in. And it was a privilege to be in there doing it because there'll never be a final, I think, like it. And the audience was what? 8 million, 8.3 million?
Yeah.
Best ever audience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But as I say, but that's English public, though, isn't it? The English public like to see the underdog win.
And then you won the British professional title, which you always ranked, but did your career, apart from that, ever hit the dizzy heights again, Keith?
I think the World Championships in '85, I lost in the quarters, and that was the first ever 100 average on TV that I did, which was great. I had 11 180s and a 164 finish against John Lowen, and I lost 4-2. Basically, I should have never lost the second set. I did, and that was it. But I think if I'd have won that, I'd had my big mate Cliff in the semis, and at the time, I think I'd have been playing Eric in the final again, which would have been, I think, great. But the World Masters final, Eric beat me in that. I had a couple of British match play finals. I mean, I lost on Sky. I've lost in the World Match Play semis, the World Pro semis. I didn't win as much as maybe I should have done. But there again, that's it's not easy. I think I had a lot more pressure than a lot of players will ever have. To be honest, I mean, I lost first round the following year, and I was too nervous, and I lost to Nicky Brashford again. And I always remember I was the New Year's Eve I lost, and I was sitting with my wife Kim. We were sitting at Covent Garden at midnight with a bottle of wine, and I went, I'm out of the World Championships. And they wanted me to come back, which I did, but I didn't want to come back. But you have to learn to, you know, you just see two different ways of, you know, my title was gone now, and that was it really. But
it was a great achievement, though, Keith. And with Eric, there were two more significant things besides your success in winning tournaments. One was the Dartitis, and the other one was your introduction and sponsoring of Phil Taylor. So you've left you've left a legacy there as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had he come in the pub, and I sponsored it for 4 years, took him around the world, and just wanted to see if I could make another world champion. But he was like a sponge. I called him a sponge. He wanted to learn everything. You know what I mean? He went the same way as I can. We used to practice finishing all the time. Used to play for hours and hours and hours. I mean, he was just. I didn't think he was going to be that good. I mean, he's gone from height to height. You know what I mean? He's marvellous. You know what I mean? But when he won the first world championship he won was beating me, which is not the way I wanted it. I wanted to be sitting there and watch him rip somebody else's head off. But he beat me in the final, and he's the rest of it's history. He's won 15 now. So and he's still setting records. He's not finished yet. He's a brilliant player.
What happened with the Dartitis?
Dartitis. I still got to four other world finals with that, and I won about another 4 or 5 world titles, different world titles. I won the world pairs, but I was never the same. I mean, your throws changed, and you adapt. There's a lot of players who have Dartitis who don't never really play again. But yeah, it's a silly thing. But hey, you got to look at things positive, not negative. Negative, I think, good job it didn't happen to me in 1978, because I won nothing, you know what I mean? So I had great times in darts. And who thought, like, 27 years on, us three are all working for Sky and we're together all the time, you know what I mean?
I think one thing that I can say for me is a sort of a legacy as such, which is going back to that final, is David Cameron, who's our Prime Minister now. He was at, I think, Oxford or Eton or somewhere with...
both.
Both, was he? And with Boris, who's
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson, and my win against Eric. He was inspired, and he reckons that was one of the reasons he's got to the top. It was a documentary, and he was saying, Keith Deller, that great 138. So it's just something shows you so many years ago. Now he's at the top.
So that Deller checkout will always be part of the history, and a fitting tribute, Keith, to a fantastic world title win. Thank you for joining us and sharing those memories. To you, Sid. You've given the sport so much colour and atmosphere. You've played your role too. Thanks for all those thoughts. And Eric, you'll always be the big star in the game, and good to see you here. Thank you.
Magic, thank you.
Thanks.
Enjoy it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Can we eat the cheese now?